Hey everybody, I'm Adam, and this is Think Club. What is more important, truth or well-being? That is the question that I am going to attempt to answer. I guess I'm not really going to answer that in this video. I'm going to muse on this question because it's such a difficult question. And it's something that I go back to a lot in my dealings with the anti-theist community. I have a clip here that is relatively disturbing to me. It was actually shared with me by a friend of mine on Twitter. And I know that religious people, Christians in particular, will probably find this clip immensely disturbing. The atheist community loves this clip just from looking at it. There's 200,000 views. It is a recent clip, so it amassed those views in a short period of time. 10,000 likes. And just to summarize before I get into the clip, this is basically a dispute between Matt Dillahunty and his parents over their belief, their Christianity. And Matt Dillahunty just goes very, very hard at his parents. And I want to look at this because there are some premises that the anti-theist community has that I think are factually incorrect, scientifically incorrect, and it creates this kind of difficulty because it takes two of their highest values and it puts them into conflict. As you can see here, I've got the values in conflict in this situation is objective truth and human well-being and happiness. That's a difficult choice. That is a difficult choice. If you can only choose one, and a lot of people will say, well, why can't we have both? And I'm going to go into that because I think this clip perfectly illustrates why in many cases you can't have both. So the anti-theist premise here is that believing untruths causes harm. And obviously you can argue with me on that in the comments below, but I'm relatively certain that this is a steel man of their position, just synthesized down to one belief, the central belief. I've often said in videos that the goal of the community is to rid the world of religion, that they believe the world would be a better place without religion. But I think the root of that belief is believing in supernatural things that are untrue, things that cannot be evidentially corroborated, causes harm to the individuals, and it causes harm to society. And fair enough, I think we should investigate this premise further. There's a book that I cite many times in many of my videos called Sacred and Secular that provides a lot of evidence that religiosity is causally correlated with existential security. In environments where existential security is high, religiosity will be low because they're getting existential security from things like wealth, stable social structures, peace, things like that. In conflict-ridden areas with unstable institutions, existential security is often low. And in those situations, people get more religious because religion provides a feeling of existential security that they may not be getting tangibly. Now, I think I agree with the anti-theists in that we would like a world where everybody has existential security over a feeling of existential security from religion. And where I want to get into this with the Matt Dillahunty clip is, even if you have wealth, we're all going to die. And the older people get, and they've studied this, the older people get, the more religious they tend to get because the existential security that they have in youth is fading over time. They're running out of life. And even if you are wealthy, death is a very scary thing. So it makes perfect sense that people would use religion to gain existential security in an afterlife type situation, to know that this is not the end. So even in cases of wealthy nations where the younger people gain existential security just from the wealth the nation possesses, from the stable institutions, older people will tend to get more religious. If existential security creates well-being and happiness, these two values are very much in conflict. They are in conflict. And this also forces a conflict between the anti-theist central premise that believing untruths causes harm. If we know that believing in religion, which from the anti-theist perspective, the atheist perspective, is untrue, but it doesn't actually cause harm, it causes well-being, then the central premise of anti-theism is incorrect. That the mission of anti-theists to rid the world of religion because it causes harm is a incorrect mission. It is a pointless mission. Now, I bring this stuff up to set up this clip with Matt Dillahunty because it's very relevant here. Matt Dillahunty is a person, I don't want to disparage Matt Dillahunty because this clip is just, I mean, it's heart-wrenching. It is really heart-wrenching. As someone who has a good relationship with my family and cherishes that, and just I feel for people who have bad relationships with their family. I know many people who do have bad relationships with their family, and it is torturous. Your family should be there for you. So this dispute between Matt Dillahunty and his family, it's heart-wrenching. It's completely heart-wrenching, but it's a dispute that's wrapped up in this anti-theist mission, this mission, this belief that believing untrue things causes harm. So I'll play the clip, and I'm going to stop to make commentary as I go, and we'll go from there.
The door that I'm closing now is not the door to conversation. I literally said in the text, I am happy to.
So this setup here really simply is that Matt Dillahunty was turning 50, and he got a birthday card from his parents that had some religious context to it. His parents obviously want him to become religious again. They want him to buy into their religious beliefs. And this does seem a bit selfish on their part, but they are. Matt Dillahunty is turning 50. I'm sure his parents are probably in their 70s. They're going to shuffle off this mortal coil soon, and they would like to know, they would like the existential security of knowing that in the future, they will all be together for eternity in heaven. Now, I know that is fiction to the anti-theist, that is fiction to the atheist. I know that this belief they believe causes harm. I'm sure you can generate tons of reasons why you think this would cause harm, but in the context of this situation, this idea, if Matt Dillahunty went along with it, would theoretically make them feel very good. So I realize this. I'm not taking sides here, okay? I think truth is the highest value. When you take that side of the argument, it is a bitter pill to swallow because it's impossible to make these people feel better, because in order to do that, you have to betray your value of truth. And I commend Matt Dillahunty in this clip for not betraying his value of truth. It's just the clip perfectly illustrates the conflict between these two values. The value of objective truth, scientific truth, and human well-being, both things that we want to strive for.
Have conversations on the phone and in person. I just don't want these written one-way communications. So she doesn't remotely understand because she thinks I'm closing the door to conversation entirely. And I'm just closing the door to passive-aggressive, cowardly bullshit one-way preaching, because that's not a fucking conversation. That's not how you engage with people. That's not how you show your love. And while they're convinced that I'm coming back to Jesus, while they're convinced that this is the message that the Lord wanted them to send, I'm now going to take it and flip it on its head and broadcast it to the entire fucking world that this is the exact opposite of what you should do if you're trying to convince somebody that yours is a true religion about love, that you care about people. This is not it. This threatening, passive-aggressive nonsense is not what it is. And so this is going to have the exact opposite effect of what they intended, because there are going to be thousands of atheists who see this, who are going to say, wow, that's the same crap I've dealt with my family, and it's breaking my heart. Well, because it breaks my heart too. And so instead of being something that uplifts their religion in the Lord, it's going to be used to deliver more people from religious oppression, from being the sidelined individual that gets stuck in a corner at Christmas and other holidays because everybody else is talking about religion and talking about them while they're still in the room. Oh.
See, he conceptualizes religion as religious oppression. Like, I understand that the institution felt oppressive to Matt Dillahunty. The institution felt oppressive to me as well. Other people don't perceive it that way. So I have the utmost respect for the people who leave religion, but I still, as a scientifically minded person, as someone who does value truth, I understand the human motivation that people have for embracing religion. And I just feel like a lot of this conflict could be reduced if the anti-theists understood this conflict as well. But I don't know that it's possible for them to understand this conflict, because it disconfirms their belief here. It disconfirms their belief that believing untrue things causes harm. It disconfirms that belief. If it's true that believing untrue things causes human well-being in the context of religion, if religiosity is causally correlated to existential security, and a religious belief system increases existential security, increases well-being, then this premise is untrue, completely untrue. And that is a bitter pill to swallow. It is a bitter pill to swallow. It is some grave irony that is the case. But I think as scientifically minded people, we have to be willing to accept that reality if that is in fact how the world really is.
Oh, well, Matt's still an atheist. You bet he is. This didn't do anything but break my heart and cement the fact that I am on the side of righteousness, that of the three of us, I'm the only one who has a good understanding of love, of civility, about how to act and interact with people. And it's going to let a lot of other atheists know that you are not alone. And one of the best things you can do is draw boundaries around your life. I had to make a decision the other day before I sent that text message. If this ends my relationship with my parents, am I okay with that? And the answer was yes.
That's just terrifying to me. That's completely terrifying to me. Their religious beliefs are in conflict with his mission. His mission is to create more atheists. It's obvious that he believes this with every fiber of his being. He believes that believing these untrue things is dangerous, is harmful to people. And I'm sure there are plenty of contexts where it is harmful to people, but there are other contexts where it is very much not harmful to people, where it's actually helpful to people. So I think that you have to weigh those two competing values. And this is really a situation where you have to choose between the two. Obviously, Matt Dillahunty has chosen truth over the well-being of the relationship with his parents. And fair enough, that's his decision to make. But I don't know that it's based on the actual facts of the situation. And I think that is what is so disheartening to me here.
It's not going to end the relationship with my parents. They're going to write it off and dismiss it and go back to not talking about religion, and we'll talk about all these other things and interact right up until the point where one of us dies. It just means that we can't have those conversations anymore.
It seems like they would feel better knowing that that this wasn't the end. That seems like a completely natural human instinct to want the security of knowing that your family is going to be intact forever. Forever.
I had to be okay with the possibility. And that's the message to the other atheists out there who are trying to figure out how to draw these boundaries. Whether they should come out, whether they should cut people out of their life. Those are decisions that only you can make. You get to decide your boundaries. And if there are people that are toxic in your life, but that's still a valuable relationship to where you're willing to put up with it, then go right ahead. And when you reach the breaking point, you got to put your foot down. Today, I'm 50 years old, and I let them get away with this stuff for years. And today, or yesterday actually, I decided no more. If we only have to talk about the weather for the rest of our lives, okay, that's fine. I'm all right with that. I'd like to talk about deeper things on occasion, but don't pretend that I closed the door to conversation, because I didn't. What I did was I said, you don't get to keep doing this to me because this is my life and it's not good for my life. And I hope that everybody out there who's having to deal with this stuff makes the decision that is in the best interest of them living a productive life without poisonous individuals trying to pollute it at every turn. If religions are true, I want to know that, and that's why we have to have the conversations. And if they're not true, I want to know that too.
So he's talking about truth, and I want to jump in here because my highest value is truth. I'm comfortable with that, and there's going to be some pain along the way. Obviously, Matt Dillahunty's highest value is truth here too. The only reason that I bring this up is because it so tangibly comes into conflict with the highest well-being of secular humanism. And Matt Dillahunty defines himself as a secular humanist. They define the highest value in secular humanism as human well-being. But if these values are in conflict, which is the highest value? I think it's important for people to realize, and a lot of people throw out the noble lie. They call this the noble lie, and they're against it because it is, in effect, a lie. And that's fine. If your highest value is truth, that's fine. My only goal here is to explain that if your highest value is truth, then you have to accept the fact that the truth is that people use the noble lie to increase their well-being, their human flourishing. You have to accept that truth because it is the truth. It is the scientific truth. And if your highest value is truth, then you have to accept that.
But if they're true and fucking terrible, they need to get out of my life, out of your life, out of politics, out of everything that happens in this world, because that is not the way to progress, to love, to cherish, to interact with anybody ever.
Yeah. A guy telling off his parents and people are applauding that just seems, man, very dystopian to me. Very dystopian to me. I'm curious your thoughts on this. I obviously feel differently than people that are applauding here, but I think this is a tough conversation. I think people are drawing ideological lines without getting to the deeper conversation that we need to have, and that's why I make these videos. So I'll leave it there. You leave your feedback in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next video. Hey everybody, thanks for watching my video. I'm going to be posting daily content here on my personal channel. My main channel, Think Club, is still demonetized, and I am working on getting that fixed. If you have suggestions for topics, you can leave those in the comments below. The amazing artwork that you're seeing here was done by Steph. She is a fantastic artist, and she's working on a graphic novel that I wrote, and we will both be crowdfunding soon. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Well, first of all, if you don't have a purpose, it isn't that your life becomes neutral in a meaningless sense. It's that your life becomes characterized by unbearable suffering. Because the baseline condition of life is something like unbearable suffering.